What up, though? I am Fontaine the Titan, and about to continue on this law of mentalism. And of course, for that purpose, I'm bringing back the Kybalion, and we're gonna take it to another level with this book, Instant Magic, Ancient Wisdom, Modern Spellcraft by Christopher Penzak. So don't get all spooked out like, ooh, he's talking about witchcraft. Don't worry, we gonna get to it, and you go get an understanding of all of it, because witchcraft, voodoo, all of that stuff that y'all are afraid of is really our stuff. Black people stuff, the ancient stuff, that's all our stuff, and we get reintroduced to how it works, you know. So don't be afraid of it. They got you all afraid of it, spooked out. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually how we're going to win out here, you know. So let me get into this thing. On a last video, I did a law of mentalism and versus the Bible, and we just talking about, you know, the creation, and I was just went through a bunch of stuff on that. But on this one particularly, I want to get in a little bit deeper on the creation process, okay? On the way we create, right? Because what we look at ourselves is, if you just look at yourself as a human, right? You got to understand that a human is no different than a dog, cat, rat, giraffe, frog, lion, tiger, bear out here. It is our divine spark that separates us from the animals, right? That divine spark, our mind, right? That's what makes us to that highest level. But we've been going through our whole lives, learning what they teach us in school, learning, you know, the other stuff of the world, the financials and all of that stuff. But the key, the real key to really getting to the higher level is actually learning how the mind works. So, you know, to continue from the last one, I'm going to get into how we create as men or women, humans, whatever you want to define us as we walk around this reality, how we create, right? So, and we're going to use the principle of correspondence. It says the principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to all other problems, right? So as above, so below, as within, so without. So it says, let us see on his own plane of being, how does man create? It says, well, first, he must create by making something out of outside materials. So if the all, they saying the all don't have any outside materials, the all do everything mentally, right? It says, but this will not do, for there are no materials outside of the all with which it may create. So we don't create, the all don't create with outside materials, right? But we can, right? It says, well, then secondly, man procreates or reproduces his kind by the process of begetting, which is self-multiplication accomplished by transferring a portion of his substance to his offspring. So, of course, if you got kids, you know what I'm talking about, right? But the all don't create like that. It's not reproducing in the same way that we produce. So it says, but this will not do, because the all cannot transfer or subtract a portion of itself, nor can it reproduce or multiply itself. In the first place, there will be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the all, both thoughts being an absurdity, right? So we were saying before that the all creates mentally. And this is where it gets down to. Is there no third way in which man creates? Yes, there is. He creates mentally, right? And in doing so, he uses no outside materials, nor does he reproduce himself, and yet his spirit pervades the mental creation, right? So you got to understand, like, even the materials that's used to make these books, this shirt, this sofa I'm sitting on, the cell phone that you got, computer or whatever, everything started as a mental creation first before it was brought into this substantial reality that we can touch, see, taste, smell, all of that cool stuff, right? So it says, following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally in a manner akin to the process by where man creates mental images, right? And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined, as shown by their teachings and writings. Such are the teachings of the wise men. Such was the teachings of Hermes. So like I say, this is old school ancient stuff on how we create in the, so when they say that even in the Bible, it'll say, ye are gods. It says that several times in the Bible. And, we look at ourselves as we're men. Well, we kind of like, created in the image of the creator, as it says, like I say, in the Bible. Then in here, it's explaining how we create in that same capacity, or in our finite capacity of how the all or whatever creates. However you want to define it, we have a mind that's able to create. That's our gift. That's our divine spark. That's what separates us from the lions and tigers and bears and wildebeests and all of that out here. Our ability to use our mental mind, and we're not talking about the brain. The brain is the processor. We're talking about that mind, that divine spark that's within us, that flows through us. That is what we're talking about. That infinite mind of us that's in the infinite mind of the all. It says the all can create in no other way except mentally, without either using material, and there is none to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible. There is no escape from this conclusion of the reason, which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teachings of the Illumined. Just as you, a student, may create a universe in your own mentality, so does the all create universes in its own mentality. But your universe, right, is the mental creation of a finite mind. That's why I said we got a finite mind, but we still able to create. Whereas the all is the creation of an infinite mind. So that's all it's saying, is that as above, so below, we are the microcosm of the macrocosm. We got the same abilities, just only to a certain degree. It said the two are similar in kind, but infinitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed. It said, but this is the point to fix in your minds at this stage. The universe and all it contains is a mental creation of the all. Verily, indeed, all is mine. So that's why I say I'm breaking this down a little bit here so you can understand how powerful your mind is. That's the most powerful thing that we got, and that's the one thing that's been kind of taken away from us. That's why I've been doing all the videos on mind control and stuff like that, to kind of prep you to the point to understand that we need to get control over our own minds, right? And the way we do that is by learning, researching, and taking things to a higher level, right? And so that's why I got this book here. And this book is really, really dope. It's called Instant Magic. And one of the things about magic is, it's the magic of the mind. When you get to an understanding that this is technically an illusion. It's real because we could touch, see, taste, and smell it and all of that. But everything that we are talking about, everything that we are taking these higher levels to, we got to have an understanding that it's a divine process. It's a spiritual nature that's permeates through everything, right? So let me break this down for you. This says here in Instant Magic, and I like this. It says, and he's talking about his technique here. It says, instant magic is a technique to create change in your life in the simplest way possible. It says, modern mystics define magic as creating change in your reality with the power of your will. You intend something to happen and it occurs. Traditionally, such magic is executed through ritual, right? So that's the whole thing. You see people with their candles and crystals and, all of this fancy stuff. And, a lot of people just do it because they think it's cool. And then a lot of people got a deeper understanding of how it works. And then, so the ritual process, right? The ritual process is after you do this so much, after you light your candles and you're doing all your magic and all of that stuff, you're really tricking your subconscious mind into creating that reality for you, because you're saying, if I did all this gotta work. Right? But in his book here, he's breaking down how you can do all of that without using all the crystals and candles. And, they tell you to go get, a human skull or whatever, witchcraft or whatever you got going on. They're telling you need all these things. He got ways to get there without having to do all of that stuff, which is, I think, is really, really dope. Right? So, he says, although there are many variables to magic, the anatomy of a spell consists of three basic components, regardless of the tradition or the ritual, right? He said these three components are altering consciousness, focusing the will, and directing energy, right? So once you understand those concepts and you're able to get into that, when we're talking about altering consciousness, we're talking about the level of your brain waves and the way they function, right? Because right now, there's alpha, beta, theta waves, of course. We talking about getting into, as we walk around, we in beta state. If you get into the alpha state of your mindset, in your subconscious mind, that's the zone that you want to be able to create in. And he goes into how you can get into that alpha state to be able to instantly, bam, be able to do certain things. So, when we talk about the laws of attraction and all of that stuff, that's what the laws of attraction is really all about. It's about the power of your mind. It's about being able to use your mind to be able to create the reality that you want. And they call it the law of attraction, but really it's nothing but the law of mentalism, the law of cause and effect, the law of correspondence. They took all of these laws, combine them into one, call it the law of attraction, and then they spitting it out to you. And that's why they tell you, have positive thoughts, vision what you want to vision, see yourself driving that new car, see yourself in that new house, and all of that cool stuff, because what they really giving you is the laws of mentalism without giving you the laws of mentalism. Because if they told you it was the law of mentalism and it came from the laws of Tahuti and it's ancient, it'll scare the hell out of people. So they call it the law of attraction. They got the book The Secret, and they give it to you in that way because other than that, a lot of people will be afraid of it. When you call it witchcraft and spells and curses and stuff like that, people will be like, oh, no, it's evil. There's nothing evil about it at all. Evil and good is just a construct of how they want you to think, but there is technically no evil and good. Everything really just is, and it's all about perspective, right? But this is something that you got to understand. And this is the reason why the laws of attraction work, is because they keep you on a positive mindset, right? So one of the things that you got to understand is you create your reality also based off the negative stuff that you do, right? So if you out here got negative thoughts and all of that, that's going to translate into your reality as well. And it says it right here. It says, even if you don't do magic formally, you can unconsciously create thought forms. Our hopes, dreams, and wishes can create helpful thought forms, much like an unconscious spell, right? So we're doing this every single day anyway, right? It says, unfortunately, many people focus on the problems in their lives and continually create and recharge harmful thought forms that broadcast feelings and thoughts about unhappiness, shame, fear, and anger. How many of y'all out there do that? Even subconsciously, you like, oh, I'm going to have a good day. But in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, man, you got all of this stuff that you're worried about. That's what he's talking about. Those thought forms that are in your subconscious mind, that's how you keep on creating the same reality and the same messed up situations that you be in, because subconsciously, you stuck in those lower thought forms. It says these thought forms eventually become the block in a person's energy system that can manifest as mental, emotional imbalance, and even physical illness. So, we got to be careful about what we think. Or what we think when our mind, that is what's giving us the reality that we got. And we can literally change our thoughts, change how we think, and be able to go into a higher level. Keep in mind this, right? You can control your emotions, right? You could think about something 10 years ago that literally pissed you off, made you mad, made you upset, and it could change your whole demeanor. It could change your whole feelings, everything inside you, right? But you could also think of something 10 years ago that was a good thing, right? And it could raise your level of vibration, right? So we know, just based on that example right there, how your thoughts can manifest into your reality, into how you feel. So imagine if you're doing this every day, projecting your future on good thoughts and good things. And then that's going to come right back to you. I got this one last part I'm going to read to you, and I think this was real powerful. It says, magic is a technology that allows us to explore the unseen worlds that operate under a different set of principles than the familiar physical world, right? So when we start talking about energy and vibration, and people be like, oh, don't mess up my vibe, positive vibes only. And we got to understand what these vibes are, what these energies are, so we could be able to tap into them to get to these higher levels. Just saying it ain't enough. We got to understand what they are so that we could be able to use them to our advantage, right? It says many of these worlds are the energetic blueprint for the foundation of our physical known reality. They are all complementary to each other. Just as the worlds of light and sound do not fight for dominance, neither do the subtle magical energies. Some worlds are more responsive to our thoughts. In these worlds, whatever we strongly think about, whatever thoughts we focus upon, become reality. If you create the proper pattern and fully energize it, you can manifest your will in the physical universe. And that's what we're talking about, using our will, using our thoughts, using our energy, using our mind to be able to bring these things into our reality. Boom, upgrading the level. It says magic is not the technology to tune into these foundational realities, but also the tool to create change in these worlds and eventually our own. So that's why I like this book. This book is really, really, really dope. It goes into how to get into that alpha state, so where you could be able to create. It got a bunch of different spells that you could use. It got spells how to keep the police off of you, all types of cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? How to wake up without an alarm clock, just little cool stuff. How to talk to deities and spirits, you know, all types of stuff. Protection, whatever. It's in this book right here. And of course, there's a bunch of different magic books, bunch of different ancient type of rituals and stuff that you could get into. But like I say, you know, once you start getting into it, and I'm going to tell you like this, y'all, it's fun. Once you start tapping into all this stuff and doing all of this cool stuff, you'll be like, man, this is dope. This is fun. Why haven't I been doing this all my life? And the reason why you ain't been doing it all your life is probably because you had no idea that this type of information even existed, or you thought it was evil. I'm going to tell y'all, there's nothing evil about it. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not going to go to hell or something like that because you're processing your mind and taking your mind to a higher level, you know. So, you know, you even got Christians out here that be into crystals and candles and all that stuff. And like I say, once you start getting a higher understanding of what it is, you might even want to leave your religion alone, because religion is, even the root of religion is religare in Latin, which means to bind, to hold back by tying. And that's what a lot of y'all religions are doing. It's holding y'all back. It's tying y'all down. And that's why this stuff was put into place. That's why all this government, mind control, and everything is put into place, is to keep you from using your mind to raise yourself into a higher level. So let's raise ourselves into higher levels, y'all. Successful, peaceful, prosperous, and healthy. Like, subscribe, share, and let's keep on popping it, y'all. Peace.